guys, how you doing? So today's video is basically me coming here to share with you guys the things I wish I knew earlier on when it comes to dating. So I'm just going to be sharing with you guys a few things that I have literally come to an awakening. I've come to an awakening to this, and I feel, oh my God, how resourceful is this information that I know now and I wish I knew earlier. First things first, your personality is your greatest trait. I know a lot of us, when we go into dating, we go there pretending to be people we're not. We go there trying to be another person. So we're going on these dates. We put our best self last because we don't want to be judged. Of course, when you're trying to get and meet a person, you want them to see you in the very best light. But I mean, if we're being honest, how long are you going to fake it before the real you appears? And it's so obvious, I think, over a period of time, because we are energetic beings. We are spiritual beings, and I mean, spirit or source is energy. So you will discover that people begin to read your energy over time. People begin to see that this is not a real person. And over time, you're wondering why an individual you were talking to or you took a liking in is no longer interested in you. It's because they did not like the person that was being presented to them. They felt something was off about you. But in actuality, what was only off is the personality that you put on, the facade that you created, the facade that you pretended to be. So if you want someone to actually get to know you for who you are and actually enjoy you for who you are and enjoy the person that you actually are, you need to come as yourself. You need to bring in that personality that you are. You need to show off that personality. If you're a playful person, show that playful side. Don't do too much, of course. We don't want to scare people away. But you just give them a little bit of who you are. You present part of yourself to that individual. If you're a person who's quite intelligent, you bring a bit of that intelligence into the conversation. Of course, not to a point where you overwhelm the other person, but you should present aspects of yourself that are literally beautiful about you. Remember, your best qualities are what we consider beautiful, because that's what makes you you. And when you're authentic, people see that, people value that, and people appreciate that. And if a person doesn't appreciate those aspects of you, then that person wasn't for you to start with. Isn't it better to know that a person wasn't for you and to quickly move away from that situation and pretending to be who you're not, and a few years down the line or a few months down the line, when you're attached, that person leaves you? So the second point is you need to be very forthcoming and honest about your expectations. A lot of us, including myself, I was one person who was very shy about setting certain expectations in a relationship from the onset. But then over time, especially after growing a little and after getting to a point where I have really discovered myself more and more, and I'm still on a self-discovery journey, but the more I get to discover myself, the more I realize that when I am honest about my expectations, it helps me. Not everybody is going to meet your expectations, but it helps you vet. So when the right people who align with certain expectations or look at your expectations and see them as valuable expectations, when they come across that, they will appreciate you and appreciate who you are. But if you do not come forth with your expectations, if you're not honest about what you expect, over time, these little things will begin to come out. Either you're going to be disappointed in the person you're with because you feel like they're doing very little or they're not meeting your personal expectations. But remember, you never set those expectations. So how is this person going to know? So you find that you do not see eye to eye with the other person, but it's not that the other person's fault. It is your fault because you were never honest from the get-go. But when you set your expectations, if people align with those values and align with those expectations, the people will continue to court you or continue to get to know you. And if someone does not align with those values, they will be forthcoming. They will tell you from the onset to say, hey, look, I don't believe in this. I don't see this as something that is workable for me, so therefore it is best we just become friends. And personally, I like it when people don't get to waste my time, and equally, I don't get to waste people's time. I know it is easy for us to play victim in most cases. We're good at that as individuals. We play the victim, but sometimes we are the problem. If you're not setting your expectations and over a period of time things just fall apart, it is your fault. You wasted the other person's time because you are never honest about what you desired or what you expected. You are not honest about who you are as an individual. The third point is, if you see red flags, trust that they are red flags. Especially us women. Men don't really do this. Men will see things for what they are. They see past the nonsense. They see past the facade. They see past, the little stuff. But we tend to be people who are dreamers. We dream of an unrealistic individual. We dream of individuals. We fantasize or romanticize relationships and literally ignore the red flags. And sometimes our gut feeling will tell us this is a red flag, but we will ignore it. If you see a red flag, and if it's a red flag that is a deal breaker for you, and in most cases, if it's a red flag, it is a deal breaker. If you see the red flag, quickly let go of that individual. Cut ties before you're in too deep. Now, I'll give you an example, a personal example. In the past, I was seeing this person, and they were quite, I don't know if flamboyant is the right way to define them or to state who they are, but I was seeing this person, and let's just say they were too flashy for my liking. I saw that as a red flag, but I didn't want to address it because I really liked the other aspects of the individual. And I'm sure maybe they had their own personal red flags that they saw in me. Who knows? But because I decided I really like this person and I really want to be with this person, so I will ignore those little things. But over time, those red flags grew to be bigger than what I could handle. And that was one of the main causes as to why our relationship couldn't work. Why? Because they were seeking the attention and the validation of the public. Now, I don't say this to bash the person I was with. They're a really good person. They're an amazing individual. But when you look at it, for them, they were still in a state where they were enjoying that, aspect of the public attention. And I'm a very private individual. So you see where already the difference was. If they were with a person who also enjoys all their business being in the public, that wouldn't be a red flag. But for me, who's very private in certain areas, I'm public about certain things, but very private about my personal life, it becomes a bit of a challenge. And that for me was a red flag. You get it? And I should have been honest and forthcoming about it. But over time, we started to differ over these little things. But they presented themselves as who they were. And I was the one who was not honest about what it is I didn't feel was right from the onset, or what I couldn't handle from the onset. So those red flags should have been a sign, a telltale sign for me to get away or for me to move on. So the fourth point is, always present your very best self. Now, what do I mean by this? If you're getting to know a person, if you're getting to know people, you're going out on dates, always make sure you're well put together. I know sometimes we tend to downplay ourselves. We want to be this down to earth, chilled girl, like, oh, the girl who can kick it with the guys so that this guy should like us. But then there's another woman who is presenting herself in the very best light. She is coming fully well dressed, well put together. So who do you think is going to get the upper hand? You, who is really just trying to hang with the boys and trying to get this guy to like you because, oh, you're down to earth? Or this lady who's really put herself together. She's really clad herself together. She's really well dressed, sometimes even dressed to the nines, and this man sees her. Because remember, the masculine is attracted to the feminine. So when you're trying to be one of the boys so that the guys see you to be down to earth, you're not presenting yourself in the best light. You're doing yourself a disservice. So the masculine won't really be attracted to you in like the feminine masculine type of way, like the energetic feel type of way. It will look at you and see you as someone who's familiar and then categorize you as one of the boys. That's why sometimes some of you ladies wonder why you meet a guy, you get to know him, he doesn't want to pursue you, but you really like this guy. He now doesn't want to pursue you as a girlfriend, or he doesn't see you as more than just a friend. Why? It's because you presented yourself as one of the boys. He wants to hang out with you, he wants to chill with you, he thinks you're cool, but doesn't see you beyond being one of the boys. Whose fault was it? It was your fault, because you underplayed yourself. You came as one of the boys. You presented yourself in your masculine. So if you're one person who really wants to dive into your feminine or present yourself in the best light to attract this individual, it is best for you to appear in your feminine. And this goes for any relationship, really. I know some people will say, oh, you're only addressing relationships where people are maybe of opposite, whatnot. But you find that even in relationships where people are of the same sex or whatever, you will discover that there's always the masculine and the feminine energy. So the masculine energy is the energy that pursues, and the feminine energy is the energy that receives. And the masculine energy is a chasing energy, the energy that is attracted to, glittering things that are beautiful, so they're always in that race. And the feminine is the energy that is an energy that caters to. So even when you present yourself, you should present yourself in such a way that you are something that he looks at or something that she looks at, and they're like, oh my god, I love this. This is beautiful. This is worth pursuing. This glitters. This is desirable, because the feminine is a desirable energy, So present yourself that way. Then the masculine energy is going to approach you. The masculine energy will see you beyond just being a friend. The fifth point is, don't be too quick to rush into getting intimate with the individual. A lot of people have, especially ladies, have literally sold themselves short by being intimate a little too quick. I know some people will say, oh, if it happens, it happens. I go with the flow. Yes, it may be good to go with the flow, and I don't judge anybody who chooses to go with the flow. But if we're being honest, if you go in too quick, you never really know what that person's intentions were. When we first meet individuals, we don't know what their intentions are for us. What is it that this man really wants from me? What is it that this person wants from me? Do they just want to get intimate, to hit it and quit it? Or are they looking for something long term? And sometimes, even if the person had intentions to get to know you long term, because you gave it up too quick, they begin to question if that's the way you are with every other person. And because of that, they will choose to withdraw from you or to keep away from you. And sometimes when someone can have something so easy, they no longer see the value in you. They will keep getting it and getting it and getting it until they have no use for it anymore. Then they discard you. So if you know you're going to get into a state with someone where you get into an intimate state so quick, you shouldn't be surprised if that doesn't work out. You should be ready for the outcome. So if you get into a relationship and you guys get intimate quickly, you should know what position or what role you're playing. If you're really getting in there and you're getting intimate quickly because you want to get intimate with that person quickly, you don't really care about the outcome. You're like, okay, if they like me, they like me. If they don't like me, they don't. Well and good. But if you're looking for something long term, you're looking to build a relationship, it's in most cases, it's not going to work in your favor if you give it up too soon. It might actually work against you. Of course, we do not have, I can't say there are no cases where people, got intimate on the first date and things worked. There's some cases like that, but those cases are very few. So if you're lucky, yes, you'll be one of those people. But if you're unlucky, you will be just another person that came along that person's path. So that is one of the things I do know, like you need to be really careful with. The sixth point is that, and now this one I will consider it a personal point. And equally you could take it for yourself, but I've seen it as something that has worked for me. So basically, when you're going on a date, especially if you're trying to get to know a person long term, you're getting to date a person and you want to, like, maybe you want to find a life partner, or you want to have a valuable, long lasting, healthy relationship, it is important to ask the important questions early on in the relationship. First date. First date should be a time for you to vet this person. The first date is that date that sets the tone, whether you're going to get to know this person or whether you're going to cut ties with this person. Ask the questions that are valuable, that are vital, that are important on the first date. If you do not ask those vital, important questions on the first date, you waste your time because you go on many other dates and not long after your emotions are involved. And then later you're like, oh my God, this person never told me this about themselves. Oh my God, why am I only discovering this about this person now? That's not their fault. That is your fault because you were never forthcoming. You never asked the vital questions from the onset. The things that you should have been knowing firsthand, you never did try to find out. And now you're finding out later because you never asked. And sometimes we're so shy. We don't want to come out as people who are, being judgmental or whatever. And we waste our own time or waste this other person's time. So if we don't want to waste our time, we don't want to waste the other individual's time, we want a quality, valuable relationship, we need to ask the right questions early on in the relationship. That's going to save you and save the other person's time. So yes, guys, that is all I had for you for now. I believe I will be coming on with more quality content soon. But for now, I felt I should just keep it short until the next time. I love you guys to the moon and back.